Alright guys, what's good? It's your boy Zach. Welcome back. Guys, welcome back to season 2 of Ground Zero. I appreciate everyone's support for the first season. So for the people who don't know me, my name's Zach Robles. I just turned 19 a couple days ago on the 18th. I'm aspiring to be a professional basketball player one day, be really successful, and really my whole goal is to just get better every day. And low-key I've been slacking a couple days just because I've been here in San Antonio, staying at my sister's, just to get out of the small town that I live in currently. It's been really fun so far, but today's the first day actually where I'm actually going to be working out and stuff. So if you see me a little bit more heavier than usual, that's probably why. But yeah, right now we just got here to Texas Strength Systems. It's about 3 o'clock right now, and our Shoot 360 workout is going to be at 4. So I don't know if I should just wait until after the basketball workout, just to see how the gym is, how the vibe is. Hopefully I can record as well at both places. Just going to be me by myself. This is basically a sneak peek of what it's going to be like once I move to San Antonio. Just going to be the daily routine. I can't wait, I'm excited. Just being in the city is just so refreshing. Like, you always have something to do, always something to do. But at the same time, you have resources, like this right here, where, you're training with the best people. At this gym, it's mostly powerlifting. I did powerlifting in high school, and I really liked it. Hopefully, I want to get back into it if I get strong enough. So that's going to be a whole journey by itself. That's going to be keeping track with the progress. It's just being a better athlete in general. I think, low-key, I'm just going to go to Shoot 360 because I don't want to rush a workout, and have crappy footage, and I don't, obviously, if you're rushing a weight workout, you might hurt yourself, so that too. Yeah, Factory of Champions, so I'll see you over there. So for the message I wanted to portray this video as, it should just be about what you say. In terms of saying you're going to achieve something, you got to go and go get that goal. You know what I'm saying? During my high school years, especially in sports, I would always say, oh yeah, like I'm about to have a breakout season this past year, whatever. But I wouldn't put in the work constantly to achieve that, When it came, when school comes around, finally getting the grip of things, and I gotta take care of assignments and all that. Now I just got all these excuses to not, still do what I was doing in the summer to put in work. Long story short, I would have disappointing seasons, especially my senior year. I was telling everyone I was gonna be district MVP, this and that. I didn't put in the work. I didn't have the confidence, and I just didn't put enough time into something that I was passionate about. And in reality, I just didn't want to do the work. But now, present day, I realize that, someone's got to be the first, like, Hispanic, Mexican American, Tejano, whatever you want to call it, to be successful in basketball, or just in sports in general. I feel like there hasn't been really someone, like, that kind of, I guess, looks like me, who was, like, successful in basketball for sure. I'm barely getting into football, so I'm not sure about that. But I know for basketball, for sure, like Mexican players or like Mexican American players, they're not really common. And there hasn't really been a standout. You kind of see like Giannis, who is obviously like the ideal player that represents Greece. You know what I'm saying? Not saying I'm gonna represent Mexico, but I'm just saying like people that look like me. Just Mexican Americans, like I said. Back to this video's message, it should just be about what you say.
we already know from a clinical perspective that, you know, if you set out a path towards a goal, which you want to do because you need a goal and you need a path, because that provides you with positive emotion, right? So you set up something as valuable, so that implies a hierarchy. You set up something as valuable. You decide that you're going to do that instead of other things, so that's kind of a sacrifice, because you're sacrificing everything else to pursue that. And then you experience a fair bit of positive emotion and meaning as you watch yourself move towards the goal. And so the implication of that is that the better the goal, the more full and rich your experience is going to be when you pursue it. So that's one of the reasons that's one of the reasons for developing a vision and for fleshing yourself out philosophically, because you want to aim at the highest goal that you can manage. Okay, so you do that, and then what you'll find is that as you move towards the goal, there are certain things that you have to accomplish that frighten you. You know, maybe you have to learn to be a better speaker, a better writer, a better thinker, or you have to be better to people around you, or you have to learn some new skills and you're afraid of that. Whatever, because it's going to stretch you if you pursue a goal, and so that'll put you up against challenges. Okay, so all the clinical data indicates, well, the opposite of safe spaces, as Jonathan Haidt has been pointing out, that what you want to do when you identify something that someone is avoiding, that they need to do because they're afraid, you have them voluntarily confront it. And so you break it down. What you try to do if you're a behavior therapist is you break down the thing they're avoiding into smaller and smaller pieces until you find a piece that's small enough so they'll do it. And it doesn't really matter as long as they start it. You know, then they can put the next piece on and the next piece. And what happens is they don't get less afraid exactly, they get braver. They get it's like there's more of them. And here's why. So imagine you do something new, and that's informative, right? There's information in the action, and then you can incorporate that information and turn it into a skill and turn it into a transformation of your perceptions. So there's more to you because you've tried something new. So that's one thing. But the second thing is, and there's good biological evidence for this now, that if you put yourself in a new situation, then new genes code for new proteins and build new neural structures and new nervous system structures. Same thing happens to some degree when you work out, right? Because your muscles are responding to the load, but your nervous system does that too. So you imagine that there's a lot of potential you locked in your genetic code. And then if you put yourself in a new situation, then the stress, that's the situational stress that's produced by that particular situation, unlocks those genes and then builds new parts of you. And so that's very cool, because who knows how much there is locked inside of you. Okay, so now here's the idea. So let's assume that scales as you take on heavier and heavier loads. That more and more of you get more and more informed because you're doing more and more difficult things, but more and more of you gets unlocked. And so then what that would imply is that if you got to the point where you could look at the darkest things, so that would be the abyss, right? That would be the deepest abyss. If you could look at the harshest things, like the most brutal parts of the suffering of the world and the malevolence of people and society, if you could look at that straight and directly, that would turn you on maximally. And so that's the idea of rescuing your father, because imagine that you're like the potential composite of all the ancestral wisdom that's locked inside of you biologically. But that's not going to come out at all unless you stress yourself, unless you challenge yourself. And the bigger the challenge you take on, the more that's going to turn on. And so that as you take on a broader and broader range of challenges and you push yourself harder, then more and more of what you could be turns on, and that's equivalent to transforming yourself into the ancestral father. Because you're like what would you call it? You're the consequence of all these living beings that have come before you. And that's all part of your biological potentiality. And then if you can push yourself, then all of that clicks on, and that turns you into who you could be. That's the re-representation of that positive ancestral father. So that's why you rescue your father from the belly of the beast.
All right, guys. So we just got done at TSS. Low-key was kind of packed, but you know, that's kind of my fault for going like at 5:30 to 6. So I kind of went kind of late because the only available appointments were between like 2 and 5. So for Shoot 360 is what I meant. But you know, it's a really cool place, Shoot 360. I'll be very excited to go train there in the future once I finally move out here. And TSS, it was pretty cool. Once I get finally, you know, in a routine of going weekly or daily, I guess. You know, it's gonna be really funny not to get back on that side of lifting, I guess. You know, it was really fun when I was doing it in high school about a year ago. Actually, this time last year, I barely started taking powerlifting serious. And this was right after powerlifting season in high school had ended. And, you know, I wanted to just keep doing it because it was fun. And just kind of got, you know, fell out of it. But now, you know, once I move back here, you know, I want to dive back into that. So it'll be real fun. But overall, just a solid day. I feel myself, I'm tired, you know. But that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for watching this first episode. And yeah, stay tuned, man. I'll see you on the next one. And like I was to say, see y'all later.